Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Vicki Sanchez. I'm the Director of Marketing at Hop Energy, where through my own initiatives, I've increased HVAC equipment sales by $4.3 million this year. My side goal at work is promoting other women and their initiatives. My work is important to me, as is my right to vote. I have been a working woman and a voting woman for nearly 40 years. Today, we're celebrating a momentous occasion, the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. We thought it appropriate today to recognize and showcase some of the many women who've contributed to the energy industry over the past 100 years. Before we begin, we would like to thank our two very generous sponsors. Our first sponsor is Renewable Energy Group, Inc., who are leading the energy industry's transition to sustainability by transforming renewable resources into high-quality, cleaner fuels. REG is an international producer of cleaner fuels and North America's largest producer of biodiesel. REG solutions are alternatives for petroleum diesel and produce significantly lower carbon emissions. REG utilizes an integrated procurement, distribution, and logistics network to operate 13 biorefineries in the US and Europe. REG is meeting the growing global demand for lower carbon fuels and leading the way to a more sustainable future. Our second sponsor is Advanced Fuel Solutions. AFS develops, brands, and markets performance-enhancing fuel additives, filtration devices, and injection pumps for wholesalers, dealers, jobbers, and fleets, representing virtually every market segment, including on-off-road diesel, gasoline, marine fuel, and today's home heating biodiesel blends, or BioHeat. Their team of innovators operate at all levels of the supply chain, offering superior fuel quality services and technical support built on decades of industry experience. They source the best available laboratory resources and chemical components that deliver the highest, most rateable performance at the most competitive treat cost per gallon. There is a reason why their very first customer is still with them today. At AFS, they treat their customers as carefully as they treat their fuel. For more information, visit their website, www.yourfuelsolution.com. We also want to thank the women who are featured in this video for their time and talents, as well as our two proofers, members Nicole Crowdhamel of IT Landis and Katie Payne of Energy Kinetics.
Today, we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. This amendment gave women the right to vote. We celebrate it by recognizing some of the women who have contributed to the energy industry. Researching the history of some early women who have contributed to the energy industry has been a fascinating project. The good news is that there are so many who paved the way for women in our industry. We encourage you to learn more and spread awareness by hearing their stories and sharing them with your sons and daughters. A history of some of the early women in energy. You might be surprised by some of the early accomplishments of these women. Some names might be familiar to you, others not. Today, they would be noted as leaders in STEM. Back then, they were curious and pushed the boundaries. Ellen Henrietta Swallow Richards, 1842 to 1911. Her contribution: water quality. Ellen was born in Dunstable, Massachusetts. She was a pioneer in sanitary engineering and a founder of home economics in the U.S. While attending Vassar College, she was attracted to astronomy and chemistry. Upon graduation, she applied for positions with various industrial chemists, but was turned down. One of those chemists did, however, suggest she apply at MIT, and she was accepted. making her the first woman in America to be accepted by a scientific school. In 1884, she was appointed as an instructor at MIT, and in 1887, at the request of the Massachusetts State Board of Health, she and her assistants performed a survey of the quality of the inland bodies of water of Massachusetts, many of which were already polluted with industrial waste and sewage. The scale of the survey was unprecedented. It led to the first state water quality standards in the nation and the first modern municipal sewage treatment plant. Marie Curie, 1867 to 1934. Her contribution: radiation. Marie was born in Warsaw, Poland, and became a naturalized French physicist and chemist. She was the first person and the only woman to win the Nobel Prize twice, and the only person to win the Nobel Prize in two different scientific fields, once in 1903 for physics and again in 1911 for chemistry. She was also the first woman to become a professor at the University of Paris. She founded the Curie Institutes in Paris and Warsaw, which remain major centers of medical research to this day. During World War I, she developed mobile radiography units to provide X-ray services to field hospitals. Marie passed away at the age of 66 from overexposure to radiation. Lisa Louise Meitner, 1878 to 1968. Her contribution: nuclear. Lise was born in Vienna at a time when women were not allowed to attend public institutions of higher education. It wasn't until 1901 that she entered the University of Vienna. In February 1906, she became the second woman to obtain a doctoral degree in physics. She is considered to be an Austrian-Swedish physicist who, along with Otto Hahn, Fritz Strassmann, and Otto Robert Frisch, discovered nuclear fission. Their research helped to pioneer nuclear reactors to generate electricity and nuclear weapons during World War II. Lise received many awards and honors for her work, many of which were given posthumously. One of her most notable praises was by Albert Einstein, who hailed her as the German Marie Curie. She was nominated once for the Nobel Prize, but this coveted award was not to be. Alice Parker. Her contribution: use of natural gas in a furnace. Alice was born in 1895, and there is no record of her death. She was raised in Morristown, New Jersey, and she attended Howard University Academy in Washington, D.C. The Academy was a high school connected with Howard University. In 1910, she earned her certificate with honors from the Academy. What made her design different than other central heating systems was that hers allowed cool air to be drawn into the furnace, then conveyed through a heat exchanger that delivered warm air through ducts into the home. Miss Parker's design was unique because it used natural gas instead of coal or wood. She filed for a patent on this design in December 1919. Dr. Maria Telx, known as the Sun Queen, 1900 to 1995. Her contribution: solar. Dr. Telx was born in Budapest, Hungary, where she was educated and received her bachelor's degree and PhD in physical chemistry. She always had an interest in the sun. After working for 1 year, she visited her cousin in Cleveland, Ohio, and she decided to make the United States her home. She worked for the Cleveland Clinic, Westinghouse, MIT, and during World War II, she was assigned to work at the U.S. Office of Scientific Research and Development. There, she worked on a solar project that could be used by military members who were stranded at sea to convert salt water to clean, drinkable water. Her invention saved the lives of torpedoed sailors and downed airmen, and was later redesigned to help meet the water needs of the Virgin Islands. A modified version of this is still in use today. Dr. Telx was the first recipient of the Society of Women Engineers Achievement Award. She holds 20 patents and worked well into her 70s. Betsy Sutherland, 1994 to 2009. Betsy was an eminent senior biochemist at a national lab that we are all acquainted with, Brookhaven National Laboratory, located on Long Island, New York. After marrying, she and her husband went to Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which is known for the uranium and plutonium used in the famed World War II Manhattan Project that developed the atomic bomb. There, she received her doctorate in radiation biology. She is best known for groundbreaking research on how ultraviolet light and ionizing radiation can hurt human cells. So how does that fit into energy? With plans of future space missions, astronauts may be exposed to damaging ionizing radiation. Betsy was the first woman to be awarded the Ernest Orlando Lawrence Award from the U.S. Department of Energy for her work in developing a way to study how cells with damaged DNA repair themselves. For the past 15 years, she headed the biology department's user support team for the NASA Space Radiation Laboratory at Brookhaven, the only source in the country of high energy and heavy charged particles used to assess the effects of space radiation. A modern-day STEM woman, Sylvia Acevedo, CEO of the Girl Scouts of America. What young girl doesn't know about the Girl Scouts? You might wonder, why is Sylvia in our video? Because she is amazing. She's an entrepreneur, a champion of STEM education for girls, and a rocket scientist. Sylvia, like many young girls, joined the Girl Scouts when she was 7 years old. Her heritage is Mexican, and she grew up in New Mexico. The family was very close. Joining the Scouts helped her make new friends and find her interests. She credits a troop leader who first spotted her interest in science. She spent lots of time looking at the stars, and her troop leader saw that. When it came time to earn badges, she wanted to earn a cooking badge, but the troop leader encouraged her to try for the science badge instead. She got a hobby rocket kit, and after a few tries, nailed it and received her science badge. That encouragement made Sylvia realize she could set her own goals and create opportunities. She went on to become an engineer and worked for NASA in the Jet Propulsion Lab, including on the 1979 Voyager flyby of Jupiter. She worked at IBM, Apple, and Dell before launching and selling a software company. In 2017, after several years involved with the Girl Scouts, she was named CEO, and to her credit, she has already added 42 new STEM badges to their program. Sylvia's story highlights the importance of mentoring. And now, for some of the women we might know or remember. This grouping of women may have come and gone, but shouldn't be forgotten. They have made a mark in the energy industry. This is a tribute to just some of the women that represent our industry and the contributions they have made. Charlotte Sinclair, March 1928 through August 2012, co-founder of Quag Sinclair. As the saying goes, behind every successful man is a strong woman. These words certainly apply to the parents of Brenda Sinclair Burnson. Brenda's mother, Charlotte Sinclair, was born and raised in the Bronx. As a young child, her parents purchased a plot of land in Hampton Bays, where they summered. She greatly enjoyed Hampton Bays and felt fortunate to have the experiences of both worlds. Charlotte met her husband, local boy Chet Sinclair, while walking with a friend one day. They married when she was 19 and settled down in Hampton Bays. Charlotte was a secretary at the local Breakstones Dairy, while Chet was a janitor at the school and later a house painter. The couple dreamed of starting their own business. There were a few false starts along the way, including raising chickens and then nutria. They didn't pan out very well and were put aside. Then, local feed and grain was a strong contender, but that was ultimately vetoed as the future of feed and grain looked a bit dim. Then, one day, a friend said he had an oil truck for sale. Coal was still king in the area, and oil seemed like an unproven newcomer. But after acquiring a small loan from Charlotte's father, the truck was purchased. Fate took over from there. Chet started delivering oil to family and friends, while Charlotte took care of their newborn son and did the books at the kitchen table. The filing cabinet was kept in the dining room. She often maintained that she was fortunate. As her family grew and aged, so did the family business. An office was added onto their home, and once Brenda and her brother left for school, Charlotte had the day to dedicate to their growing business. Brenda says of her mother, "As a young child, I vividly remember sitting under her desk playing with all the wonderful papers in the garbage can. I loved playing office while she worked." Owning their own business gave Charlotte plenty of time to be a real mom. She was a Boy Scout and Girl Scout leader, and she chaperoned school field trips. She also made time to bowl with friends in a morning women's league, mow lawns, garden, and put up storm windows. She was a stay-at-home mom who worked full-time, in and out of the home. As the business grew, so did the machinery. At one time, her pride and joy was a posting machine that would hardly fit in the cubicles of today. An answering machine the size of the top of the filing cabinet morphed into a live person answering phones. The hiring of their first employee, a driver, and then the first office help were major milestones that marked the company's progress. Brenda's brother joined the business, and after a few more years, C.F. Sinclair merged with another longtime local company to become Quag Sinclair. Charlotte's role evolved from sole office employee to a hands-on board member. As the business continued to grow and flourish, she continued to be an integral part of decisions and changes at the company. Processes that she had started decades ago continue to the current day with minor tweaks. The success of the business was a source of astonishment to her. Brenda shared, "Mom never forgot their early roots and never forgot how fortunate she was that hard work and determination brought success." Happy White, 1916 to 2009. Taco Comfort Solutions in Cranston, Rhode Island. She was born Mary Teft, but the nickname of Happy stuck with her from childhood. Happy worked side by side with her husband, John Hazen White Sr., for 65 years. Founded in 1920, Taco Comfort Solutions has been owned and operated by members of the White family for 3 generations. After World War II, Happy and John worked tirelessly to bring Taco into the modern age of hydronics. They established manufacturing operations in Cranston, Rhode Island, where it continues today. Starting in the 1990s with the family business restructured and revitalized, and under the leadership of their son John Jr., Happy and her husband began contributing significant gifts to education and arts organizations. Their mission was to give something back to the community in their adopted state of Rhode Island. After her husband's passing in 2001, Happy White and her son John Hazen White Jr. established the John and Happy White Foundation and formalized its mission to assist community-based nonprofit organizations operating in Rhode Island, which serve significant social goals. Marcel Marin, 1894 through 1994. Energy Kinetics, Inc. Many people are familiar with both Energy Kinetics and Marin Oil Company, but may be surprised to learn that these companies reflect the legacy of a remarkable woman, Marcel Marin. Energy Kinetics of Lebanon, New Jersey was founded by her son John Marin, and Marin Oil of Long Island, New York was run by her son Bill. Marin Oil was founded by Marcel's father-in-law in 1891. Her husband ran the company until his death, at which point Marcel took over the company and became a role model in leadership, business, faith, family, and an inspiration for the long-term success and innovation found in both companies. Marcel married Frances Marin on August 16, 1922. Francis was a progressive businessman credited with modernizing the oil delivery system by switching from horse-drawn carts to motorized tank trucks, which could deliver oil more efficiently to a larger area. In the 1930s, he constructed a 1-million-gallon oil terminal on the Patchogue River, which received barges from New York Harbor. He worked with Standard Oil, supplying their oil to other companies and his customers throughout Suffolk County. Under his leadership, Marin Oil was the first oil company to provide automatic delivery to its customers. He began to sell oil as an alternative to wood or coal heating systems. He called it automatic heat because it eliminated the necessity to feed the fire. He believed that the company should invest in its infrastructure and equipment to provide better services and products to its customers. His philosophy was innovate and provide your customers with the best products. In 1935, at the height of the Great Depression, Frances suddenly passed away, leaving behind debt, a widow, and 4 growing children. Marcel faced an onslaught of local business people and bankers who said she couldn't run a business and she should sell. We can only imagine what she was going through at the time. It was her characteristic tenacity, coupled with the support of the community of neighbors, friends, employees, customers, and a priest, who convinced her to run the business to support her family. One of her biggest sales jobs was to the bank. After convincing the bank to provide her with working capital without collateral, she vaulted the first of many hurdles on her way to building a growing and thriving business. Marcel was educated and trained as a school teacher. She often told her students, "There's no such word as can't," to motivate them to try harder and succeed. She reminded them, where there's a will, there's a way, and that giving up was unacceptable. As one of Long Island's first businesswomen, that phrase became her motto, and she was known to succeed in the face of adversity. In 1948, her son Bill came to work with her. She reminded him that their loyal customers had helped her keep the business going through the death of his father and the oil rationing during World War II. She told everyone she knew that when it comes to your customers, there's no such word as can't. Marcel relished her role at Marin Oil and steadfastly continued to work there until she was 96, talking with customers and actively working in daily operations of the business. She was prominently featured for decades in Marin Oil's Don't Hesitate to Call the Boss campaign, which featured Marcel, son Bill, and grandson Jack. She lived to be 100 and would be proud to see the enduring achievements of Marin Oil and Energy Kinetics, and how her leadership and hard work helped provide a foundation for this fifth generation and second generation family-owned businesses. Dorothy McElroy Townsend, 1918 to 2018. Townsend Oil. The trusted voice of Townsend Oil. After marrying her husband Warren, one of 4 sons of the Townsend Energy founder Myall E. Townsend, Dorothy joined the family business in 1946, a business she grew to love. After high school, Dot attended the Catherine Gibbs Secretarial School in Boston. She then went on to work for various agencies of the federal government for 5 years. However, small business was in her blood, having worked in her father's grocery stores from the time she was a child. When she and Warren were married, it was natural that Dot would join the Townsend business. She spent over 65 years working first with her husband of 49 years and then with her sons Mark and Jim. She and Warren helped guide and build Townsend Energy into the company it is today. Jim Townsend said of his mother, "The values that Mom and Dad instilled in Mark and I are represented in our mission statement and core values of Townsend Energy today. All those who knew Dot and were fortunate enough to call her a friend were inspired by her and are better today for having known this great lady we call our mom." Dorothy continued to work well into her 90s, coming into the office almost every day to help out. She truly loved serving the customers. Over the course of her career, she was recognized for her contributions to Townsend Energy and the industry. She was named Woman of the Year by the Massachusetts Oil Heat Council in 1994 and a Legend of Oil Heat in 1998 by the New England Fuel Institute. Dorothy was very proud of the fact that she and her son Jim were the only mother-son NEFI Legends. Women in Energy Today. Next, a tribute to all of the respected women of today who contribute to the energy industry. Those who work to build things, those that employ and lead people, and those who keep us safe and comfortable. These are just some of the many talented and bright women that contribute to the energy industry. We speak about and celebrate careers in the energy industry, and these women who are currently working in the field show that there are many opportunities for women to learn, grow professionally, and succeed. Nancy Allen, Vice President of E.T. Lawson & Son in Hampton, Virginia. 5 generations and still loving work. E.T. Lawson & Son Inc.'s long history began in 1919. Their first customers were the fishing fleets of Hampton Roads, selling them marine goods, groceries, and as the fleet converted from sail to motor, petroleum products. About 10 years later, they made their first heating oil delivery to the Hampton Country Club in a pickup truck with 2 55-gallon drums. Nancy began her career in the family business in 1974 when she and her husband Don, along with baby Donald, moved back to Hampton, Virginia from West Lafayette, Indiana, where Don had recently graduated from Purdue University with his Master of Science in Information Assurance degree. Since there were no openings within the company that applied her political science degree, Nancy accepted a job as a payroll clerk. She loved it and loved working in a family business. During that time, she had their second child. Nancy soon learned that the business and technical sides were not one and the same. At that point, she knew that she needed to have more conversations with drivers and technicians and more training for herself. Nancy credits organizations such as PMAA, NEFI, and NORA for all of the educational conferences she attended. Having more confidence under her belt, she ventured into sales. She met with real estate agencies and conducted presentations about the benefits of oil heat. After 10 years, she returned to the payroll department and took charge of human resources. She now focuses on employee benefits, including an incentive program that helps keep customers and employees happy. Nancy appreciates having her sister Ann in the office next door and her son Donald involved along with his wife Lolita, and of course her husband Don. She misses her dad, I.E. Lawson Jr., who came into the office daily until his passing on Easter Sunday in 2019 at the age of 91. Today, E.T. Lawson is the largest home heating oil company in Hampton Roads and serves thousands of customers from Virginia Beach to Williamsburg. They are also known for being the first to provide additional offerings, including budget plans, low sulfur heating fuel, electrical and plumbing, bioheat, solar, and the latest addition, a bath remodeling department. Rosemarie Bartchak, sales manager of Boyertown Furnace Company and Columbia Residential Boilers in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. For as long as Rosemarie can remember, her parents dreamed that she would become a music teacher. Rosemarie did start down that path and was a clarinet major at Westchester University with the dream of playing in the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. She soon figured out that music was not what she wanted to do with the rest of her life. So in 1976, she walked right out of college and into an administrative office to start her career. When she left school, Rosemarie knew she had a goal. She wanted to have a nice car, nice clothes, and travel. In 1980, she interviewed and got the accounts payable job at Columbia Boiler Company of Pottstown. About a year later, the owners of Columbia Boiler purchased the rights to manufacture the Hallmark warm air oil-fired furnace from Atlantic Heating and Cooling Company in Baltimore, Maryland, and the rest is history. If someone had asked her when she was 16 what she wanted to be when she finished high school, she thought she clearly knew she was going to have a future in music. She never imagined being in sales, and yet it has turned out to be her dream job. Thinking back to how she got to where she is today, Rosemarie believes that everything happened at the right time and place. There were not many women in the field selling heating equipment 40 years ago. She focused her efforts on learning about manufacturing and understanding how the furnaces are made so that she could become a better salesperson. Her passion for furnaces and boilers is evident when you hear her call them her girls. As the company grew, it was clear that finishing her education also became a goal. After going back to finish her undergraduate degree at Alvernia University, Rosemarie continued on to earn her MBA from St. Joseph's University at 52 years old. It was the best thing she's ever done. Rosemarie adds, "If there is one point I feel strongly about, it would be to always have a goal. Even if it is the wrong goal, you do not know where you will end up. Your education is never a waste. No one can ever take it away from you. If you can be passionate about what you do for a living, you have struck gold. The last 40+ years have been my passion, not just a job." Rosemarie previously served as a treasurer of OESP and board of directors president of the Pottstown YWCA. Lynn Biddle, service manager for Burke Energy in Hawthorne, New York. Lynn has worked in the energy industry for over 35 years in various roles. She started her career at Best Plumbing Supply, and over the years has also been a service technician, a sales rep, and a manager for heating and plumbing supply houses. Most recently, she is the service manager for Burke Energy, a division of Star Group, the Northeast's largest residential home heating oil provider. Her co-worker Elizabeth Pope shares, "I have personally worked with Lynn for the past 10 years. She is a confident and respected leader. As the service manager, she's responsible for the daily service and installation operations of Burke Energy and the 36 service technicians that we employ. Lynn has gained the respect of all her employees, peers, and management through her hard work, vast industry knowledge, and her willingness to assist anyone in any way that she can when needed. Lynn is a leader. She inspires both staff and coworkers through her hard work and dependability. She participates in various industry organizations, such as our group, Independent Master Plumbers of Westchester, and the National Association of Oil and Energy Service Professionals. She has also established and maintained relationships with other professionals across the plumbing and HVAC industries. Lynn serves as a role model, not just for the women within our company that are under her leadership, but also throughout the industry as a whole." Nancy Coop, Cetane Associates in Kent, Connecticut. As the founding chair of the National Business Council Women in Propane, Nancy Coop has worked diligently to help create a collaborative professional development environment for men and women. Her work history includes owning a nationwide bobtail building company and serving as a business development executive for the nation's second-largest major marketer. Nancy earned a reputation as a propane industry advocate and now brings her experience to the Cetane team. Nancy's propane career began when the bobtail manufacturing company Jarco, founded by her father, needed a new leader. She acquired the business in 2005 and stepped in as president to ensure the family business stayed vital. She built a sales force, maintained quality, and grew revenues. In 2010, Polar Company expressed interest in a strategic acquisition, and a transaction was completed that same year. By then, Nancy was on the National Propane Gas Association's board of directors and worked consistently toward the future success of the industry. In 2013, Farrell Gas tapped her to represent them in industry relations and acquisition efforts. She continued to serve on NPGA committees and the Western Propane Gas Association's board of directors. In 2020, Nancy was inducted into the LP Gas Hall of Fame. Her personal warmth, communication strengths, and integrity are appreciated by her colleagues and clients. Susan Hammond, Vice President of J.W. Pearson Company in Orange, New Jersey. Susan began her career as a receptionist at J.W. Pearson in East Orange, New Jersey in 1976. It was supposed to be a job to help her get through school, but she never left. As the years passed, Susan has assumed more responsibility and built a bond of strong trust with the company owner, Jim Pearson. Today, she handles the required details of their union employees, manages human resources, buys the oil for the company, and oversees hedging, business insurance, acquisitions, and more. Her latest mastery is personal protective equipment. One of her major accomplishments has been transitioning the company from a paper office to a computerized business. She appreciates and values her office staff. As Susan likes to say, it's a two-way street of respect. In addition to her responsibilities at J.W. Pearson, she, along with Jennifer and Sally Pearson of Dixon Brothers, purchased a small oil company, Matzo Oil, in Garfield, New Jersey, which was recently integrated into J.W. Pearson. Susan, who hasn't experienced any discrimination during her years with the company, shared this anecdote. A few years ago, we were looking at an acquisition. I was called into the office by the owner, Jim Pearson. I was properly introduced and referred to as the boss, and the gentleman commented, "Yeah, I have one of those too." Mr. Pearson responded, "No, she really is the boss." So I reached out my hand and introduced myself again. Susan is a member of the Fuel Merchants of New Jersey and is a board member of NORA and Women in Energy. She also is a past board member of their local Salvation Army. Over the course of her more than 40-year affiliation with the industry and the J.W. Pearson Company, Susan has proven herself an effective organizer, strong manager, and compassionate leader, and has played a vital role in the company's success. During her spare time, she enjoys photography. Currently, she, like most of us, misses the opportunity to participate in the things we enjoy: beach time, vacationing, and live concerts. Susan particularly misses going to concerts because that is where she gets to use her hobby of photography. She specializes in smaller venues of live concerts around northern New Jersey and New York. Allison Heaney, owner and president of Skaggs Walsh in College Point, New York. Allison knew a great deal about what she was getting into long before becoming the leader of this company. Growing up, she basically didn't see much of her dad, Peter, because of long hours at the oil company. She always enjoyed helping people, but didn't really plan on working for the family business, even though she did work summers through her high school years. Those years of tune-ups eventually came in handy for her. Upon high school graduation, she went to Georgetown and planned to become a doctor. During her college years, she became an EMT and worked for Hunter Ambulance transporting elderly patients. She also worked in a bakery and cheese shop. After 4 years, she changed her mind about going to medical school and asked her dad if she could come work for him. His response was, "Yes, but you need to work in sales." This wasn't something she wanted to do, but soon realized the importance of this role. She stayed in the sales department for 3 years. One of her fondest memories of being in sales was a project she did for an owner of apartment buildings in the city. Not only were these units heated with oil, but it was also time for new boilers. This was a huge deal for a young woman that disliked sales, and she babied this project from start to finish. After 29 years, Skaggs Walsh is still serving these apartment units, and Allison made a friend for life. In 1994, her dad was diagnosed with lung cancer, and he knew that his 24-year-old daughter could carry on the business. He turned it over to her, making her the president of the company. Together, they convinced the banks not to foreclose on their bank loans. She also knew the importance of getting a firm grasp on the financial side of the business. She credits Shelley Barnett, a partner in their accounting firm, with teaching and supporting her with this facet of the business. Acquisitions happen to be something she fully enjoys, taking care of all of the work required to fold these companies into the Skaggs Walsh family. Over the years, her company has evolved into more than a full-service oil company. Customers can come to them for air conditioning and plumbing as well. When asked about the future of the energy industry, she responded, "It's exciting. We've never had a cleaner fuel to deliver to our customers. It's good for us and the environment." Allison was previously a president of NORA. She is a member of PMAA, the Queen's Chamber of Commerce, the New York State Energy Association, and Women in Energy. Judy Garber, Executive Director of Women in Energy in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Judy is another one of those women who had no idea of what the energy industry was all about when she started her career. Her first full-time job was in the marketing department of a large defense supplier. There she learned all about bombs and missiles, something she never expected to do. After a few years, she started with a small local company that built humidification for homes and commercial applications. There she got her teeth into the energy industry. After about 10 years as a marketing and sales manager, she was ready for a change, so she visited with one of her customers who owned an HVAC company and asked for his advice. He suggested she apply for a position that would soon be available: Executive Director of the National Association of Oil Heating Service Managers, known today as OESP. Again, she asked questions and jumped into the unknown world of association business. A funny, actually not so funny memory is when Judy was selected for the position. George Schultz, a previous editor of Fuel Oil News, wrote a scathing editorial about their choice of a woman for that position. And that was in January 2000. Her required skills and experience were a perfect match for the position. Plus, there was plenty of opportunity for learning even more about the energy industry. She was the director for over 15 years. Prior to retiring from that role, she recognized the changes that needed to happen in order for the association to survive and grow. The association's main revenue source was from the annual OESP trade show, and there was competition within an industry that was stagnant and shrinking. That is how the Eastern Energy Expo came to be. Within a few short months, Judy, along with the management staff of the Atlantic Region Energy Expo, were combined, and the result was the Eastern Energy Expo. Out of that new partnership, a wonderful relationship between Marjorie Feynman, the show manager of the EEE, and Judy grew, and the seeds for establishing the Women in Energy Association evolved. As Judy likes to say, lots of women work in this industry, but giving them a chance to connect and have a voice has been a real joy. Cheryl Merchant, CEO, Taco Comfort Solutions in Cranston, Rhode Island. Cheryl has spent over 35 years in manufacturing. She has held leadership positions with industry giants like GM, Mazda, Ford, and Lear Corporation, and has led teams in the U.S., Mexico, Canada, and throughout Europe and Asia. For the last 19 years, she was president and CEO of Hope Global, a manufacturing company with over 2,000 employees and operations in the U.S., Mexico, Czech Republic, China, and Brazil. During that period, Hope Global grew 5 times in revenue and became a Tier 2 leader in the automotive industry. Cheryl has received awards over her career that include Providence Business News Rhode Island Leadership Award in 2001 and 2014, New England Businesswoman of the Year in 2014, Mentor of the Year by PBN Rhode Island in 2016, Crane's Women in Manufacturing of the Year in 2018, and Trailblazer in Business Watkins Sneed Award in 2018. Cheryl also holds 2 honorary doctorates from New England Institute of Technology for Humane Letters and from Bryant University for Business. Her current board work includes being a trustee for Bryant University, where she has been the secretary and chair of student affairs since 2012. She is also a member of the Board of Governors for the Rhode Island Hospital Foundation and the advisory board to the University of Rhode Island. In 2019, Cheryl joined Taco Comfort Solutions as president of Taco Family of Companies North America. Cheryl resides in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and integrates her business life with being the mother of a bright and ambitious 12-year-old boy and a leader in the making 10-year-old daughter. C.J. Warner, President and CEO of Renewable Energy Group in Ames, Iowa. C.J. Warner is the current president and CEO of Renewable Energy Group in Ames, Iowa. The road to becoming who she is today started growing up in the suburbs of Chicago. After receiving her Bachelor of Engineering from Vanderbilt University, she started her first job in 1980 at UOP in Des Plaines, Illinois. This first position is where C.J. realized her passion for the energy industry. "I wanted to know how to throw a wrench around a pipe and be able to crack a valve," she says, remembering that time. "I had a refinery manager tell me that it was over his dead body that I'd get out in operations. It wasn't until he retired that I got out in the field." Working at UOP was just the first step. Throughout her career, CJ has held positions in engineering and development, international refining, and global refining, including working for BP in the United Kingdom from 2001 to 2008. As she continued to grow and work her way up, she has focused her efforts on developing renewable energy practices within the crude oil industry, including process development for low-carbon crude oil from algae. In 2020, CJ has worked in and overseen over 30 refineries in both the United States and Europe. CJ serves on various boards, including Sempra Energy IDEX Corp., National Petroleum Council, and Vanderbilt University School of Engineering Board of Visitors. Women in Energy celebrates women who have contributed to the energy industry. We encourage you to spread awareness by sharing these stories with your sons and daughters.